Hey everybody, it's Tammy Salamone, the Pink Survivor. So I wanted to do another video that focused on chemo because so many of you have had questions about it. So this one is going to be more focused on what to expect on chemo day and a little before, during, and after that. So on the day of chemo and even the day before, something that I did to kind of, prep a little bit for that actual day was I drank a lot of water. So I started to drink water the day before, the day of, and the day after my chemo. I just kind of wanted to flush it out. I don't know whether it worked or not, but it's something that I did, and it seemed to have helped me. So that was one thing. And then also before chemo, I just experienced a lot of mixed emotions. I was extremely scared. I was depressed. I was even a little angry because why am I doing this? Why are they taking a well person and going to make them sick? I just couldn't get past that. Do I really need this? A little anger, towards the doctors. Also just a lot of anxiety of what is going to happen when they put this chemo, this poison into my body. That's kind of what was going on that day. I had to take a steroid pill that morning, which, is very normal just because they're trying to control your side effects with that. And then also I ate a little breakfast. You're not, super hungry because you're so nervous. I can't remember. I think I had a lot of toast with peanut butter, or sometimes a scrambled egg with a piece of toast, something like that. Just a little protein, with a little carb, but whatever sounds good to you, I would have that morning, just a little something in your system. So then when you show up that day for chemo, what they're going to do is they're going to weigh you, which, is depressing enough. And then they also take your blood pressure. Once they get that all out of the way, ask you a few questions, then they get you situated into your chemo chair. Make sure you're comfortable. It's pretty cold in there, but they do have blankets and pillows that they'll put all around you, or you can bring your own if you really, feel better having maybe this warm fuzzy blanket that's your favorite. Go ahead and bring it. Then also you're going to want to bring something to do, because the first time that they do chemo, it's a long day because they administer the chemo very slowly. So you end up being there for quite a while. So you can eat lunch if that's the time of day that you're there, or dinner. Usually it's in the morning or afternoon that they try and do it. Also, you could play some games, you could do, word search, crosswords, whatever. You could read, whatever you want to do to distract your mind. If, you're there by yourself, which is often, the case, especially now, bring something to kind of entertain yourself a little bit, or maybe just something to read and relax, because you are going to be there for a while. And then a nurse is going to be checking on you the whole entire time, especially that first time, because they want to make sure how you're going to react to the chemo. And then remember, I had Taxol, so I had that once a week for 12 weeks. So that's the only experience I have with, chemo that I am speaking with you today. Then they're going to actually take a little blood sample, and they're going to check your white and your red counts and, make sure that everything looks, somewhat normal so that you can receive your chemo that day. If you have a port, they're going to do that through your port. If you don't, they're going to do that through your IV and get your IV all hooked up. Then when, everything looks good and you're all set, then you're going to start your chemo. And it's just like a regular IV. So you don't really feel anything, going in. I didn't really experience anything right away. So just so you know, take that anxiety away. It's just going to be like you're receiving an IV, like any other IV, and you're not going to feel anything right away. And if you do, the nurses are there and they're going to pull things back. They're either going to give you less of a dose or a slower dose. So don't worry, that can be adjusted depending on the person. And then also when they first flush your IV or your port, you taste a little salt in your mouth right away, but that's just them flushing the line before they actually give you your chemo. So I know with the port it's a little different, but with an IV, that's what I had. That's exactly what would happen. Then after, I think the first time, it was about 6 hours I was there, so that was a little longer. But then, they would shorten that and try and get it up to, 4 hours. And when I was only doing Herceptin later, that was usually only 2.5 hours. So it gets shorter and shorter, depending on how you're tolerating the chemo. So then afterwards, right away, I didn't notice like a lot of side effects, but definitely you're a little tired because they've also given you some Benadryl in your IV. And that's going to kind of relax you. But then later on in the day, and especially towards night, I started to really wake up from their steroids. And then you have so much going through your mind. It's just hard to get a good night's sleep that first night. So kind of expect that maybe after chemos, you might be a little tired. Maybe you could have more of a down day, not too much going on the day of chemo. And then maybe expect at night you might be up. Probably could get a little work done if you need to, because you kind of had a lot of energy that first night, but then that kind of tapers off each night, and then I was able to sleep a little better. If anything disrupted my sleep the most, it was just me worrying about what's happening, when am I going to lose my hair, what's going on, when am I going to get sick, how nauseous am I going to feel. So if you can just kind of calm your nerves a little bit somehow, some way, that's going to be a big help too. Okay, so that's pretty much it for what you should expect the day of your chemo. Also, I kept drinking, remember, a lot of water, so keep drinking a lot of water after your chemo. And I hope you have an easy time. Reach out to me. Don't forget, ask me any questions and I'd be happy to answer them. Or if I don't know the answer, I'll ask someone who does. All right, thanks so much for joining me. Don't forget to like and subscribe. See you guys next time.